Most Americans who have built an emergency fund have made a mistake. Not in saving the money. Saving it was the right decision. The mistake is in where they put it. The standard advice you have heard your entire life is simple. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses in a savings account at your bank. Keep it safe. Keep it accessible. Do not touch it. And for decades, millions of responsible Americans followed that advice exactly and quietly lost thousands of dollars in opportunity cost while thinking they were doing everything right. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how much that mistake is costing you in real dollar terms. Identify the 4 specific places where emergency funds go to quietly lose value, and walk you through the HYSA laddery strategy that turns your emergency fund from a money-losing obligation into a positive returning financial asset without reducing its safety or accessibility one bit. Before we go further, everything in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice or investment advice of any kind. I am not a licensed financial advisor. Emergency fund strategies depend on your personal income stability, expenses, and risk tolerance. Please consult a qualified financial professional before making any changes to how your savings are structured. With that said, let us get into the numbers. Let me establish exactly what is happening to most emergency funds right now, and why the standard advice, while not wrong in principle, is incomplete in a way that costs people real money. The core purpose of an emergency fund is correct and essential. Financial research consistently shows that households without an adequate emergency fund are significantly more likely to carry high-interest debt, miss bill payments, and experience cascading financial problems when an unexpected expense arises. A 2023 Federal Reserve survey found that 37% of American adults could not cover a $400 unexpected expense without borrowing money or selling something. The emergency fund solves that problem. It is one of the most important financial foundations anyone can build. The problem is not having an emergency fund. The problem is where the vast majority of Americans keep it. According to the FDIC, the national average interest rate on a standard savings account at the end of 2025 was 0.46%. The top 5 largest U.S. banks, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, and U.S. Bank, all pay between 0.01 and 0.10% on their standard savings accounts. With current inflation running at approximately 3%, any emergency fund sitting in one of these accounts is generating a real return of -2.5 to -2.99% annually. Now let us put that in dollar terms. The median American household emergency fund, based on the recommended 3 to 6 months of median household expenses, sits somewhere between $15,000 and $30,000. If you have $20,000 in an emergency fund earning 0.46%, you earn $92 in interest over a full year. At the same time, inflation at 3% reduces the purchasing power of that $20,000 by approximately $600. Your net real loss on a $20,000 emergency fund in a standard savings account is approximately $508 per year. Over 5 years, with the compounding effect of inflation running above your savings rate every single year, a $20,000 emergency fund at a traditional bank loses approximately $2,600 in real purchasing power. That is money that does not need to be lost. The emergency fund is doing its job. It's there if you need it, but it is doing that job at an unnecessary cost. And here is what makes this particularly frustrating. The fix requires almost no additional effort. It does not require any additional savings. It does not require any additional risk. It simply requires knowing where to put the money. And most financial advisors, when they tell clients to build an emergency fund, do not specify where to put it beyond a generic recommendation to keep it at the bank. Let me show you the full opportunity cost of the standard emergency fund advice using 3 different balance levels. so you can find the number that is closest to your situation. Scenario 1. $10,000 emergency fund at a traditional bank paying 0.46% annually. Annual interest earned, $46. Annual purchasing power loss at 3% inflation, $300. Real net loss per year, $254. Over 5 years, approximately $1,300 in cumulative real value lost. Scenario 2. $20,000 emergency fund at a traditional bank paying 0.46%. Annual interest earned, $92. Annual purchasing power loss, $600. Real net loss per year, $508. Over 5 years, approximately $2,600 in cumulative real value lost. Scenario 3. $30,000 emergency fund, representing 6 months of expenses for a median American household. Annual interest earned at 0.46%, $138. Annual purchasing power loss at 3% inflation, $900. Real net loss per year, $762. Over 5 years, approximately $3,900 in cumulative real value lost. Now compare those same balances in a high-yield savings account currently paying 4.8% annually, which is available right now at multiple FDIC-insured online banks. $10,000 at 4.8%, $480 in annual interest. Real return after 3% inflation, positive $180 per year. Over 5 years, approximately $1,000 in accumulated real value gained. $20,000 at 4.8%, $960 in annual interest. Real return, positive $360 per year. Over 5 years, approximately $2,000 in accumulated real value gained. $30,000 at 4.8%, $1,440 in annual interest. Real return, positive $540 per year. Over 5 years, approximately $2,800 in accumulated real value gained. The total difference between keeping your emergency fund at a traditional bank versus a high-yield savings account on a $20,000 balance over 5 years is approximately $4,600. Not from taking any additional risk, not from investing in anything volatile, simply from moving the same money to a different savings account. Same FDIC insurance, same accessibility, different rate. That $4,600 difference represents the invisible opportunity cost that the standard emergency fund advice creates when it tells you to save the money, but does not tell you where to put it. But here is what nobody is telling you. A high-yield savings account is just the beginning. The strategy that truly optimizes an emergency fund goes one step further and splits the fund into tiers, each tier optimized for a different level of urgency and earning a progressively higher return. This is called HYSA laddering, and when it is set up correctly, it turns your emergency fund into a multi-tiered financial asset that earns significantly more than a single account, while preserving complete access to your money when you actually need it. I am going to show you exactly how to build it, and if this is the kind of information that is genuinely changing how you think about your money, subscribe right now. We release financial investigations exactly like this 3 times every week. All free, all built to give you the specific strategy behind the advice everyone else leaves out. Before I show you the HYSA laddering strategy, let me walk through the 4 most common places Americans park their emergency funds and why each one is costing them money right now. Emergency fund trap number 1. Standard savings accounts at major national banks. We have already covered this in detail. Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, and U.S. Bank all pay between 0.01 and 0.10% on their standard savings products. The real return at 3% inflation is between -2.9 and -2.99% per year. This is the most common emergency fund location and the worst performing option available to American savers. Emergency fund trap number 2. Checking accounts or accounts with no interest at all. According to the Federal Reserve's 2023 Survey of Consumer Finances, approximately 20% of Americans hold some or all of their emergency savings in a checking account. Checking accounts at most major banks pay 0.00% interest. The real return is exactly equal to negative the inflation rate, currently negative 3% per year. A $20,000 emergency fund in a checking account loses $600 in real purchasing power annually. Emergency fund trap number 3, physical cash. A 2022 U.S. Currency Education Program study found that approximately $2.2 trillion in U.S. currency is held outside of bank accounts globally, and a meaningful portion of that represents American household savings held in physical cash at home. Physical cash earns 0% interest. A $10,000 cash emergency fund loses $300 in real purchasing power every year inflation runs at 3%. There is also no FDIC protection on physical cash, and no recourse if it is lost, damaged, or taken. Emergency fund trap number 4. Money market accounts at traditional banks confused for high-yield options. This is the most nuanced trap because it involves a misidentification. Traditional bank money market accounts, distinct from money market funds, pay slightly more than standard savings accounts, averaging approximately 0.64% nationally, according to the FDIC. Many people believe these accounts are high-yield options because the rates are higher than checking accounts. They are not. At 0.64% with 3% inflation, the real return is still negative 2.36% per year. Better than 0.01%, but still quietly eroding purchasing power every single month. Stay with me, because this next section is the most valuable part of this entire video. I am going to walk you through the HYSA laddering strategies step by step, the exact framework for splitting your emergency fund into tiers that maximize your return while keeping every dollar fully accessible. This is the strategy most financial advisors know about and very few ever explain to their clients. The HYSA laddering strategy is based on a simple but powerful insight. Not all emergency fund money is equally urgent. Some of your emergency fund needs to be available within hours, today, right now, if your car breaks down on the way to work. Some of it only needs to be available within a few days. And some of it only needs to be accessible within a week or two, for larger but less immediate emergencies. Each of those tiers can be held in a different account with a progressively higher return, because a slightly longer availability window unlocks better rates. Here is how to structure the 4 tiers. Tier 1. Immediate access, 1 to 2 days. This is your true liquid emergency buffer. It is the money you need available same day or next day for genuine immediate emergencies. The recommended amount for this tier is approximately 1 month of essential expenses. Your rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, and transportation. If your monthly essentials run $2,500, Tier 1 holds $2,500. This tier lives in a high-yield savings account at an online bank that offers same-day or next-day transfer to your checking account. Ally Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, and Discover all offer instant or same-day transfer to linked checking accounts for most standard transfers. Current rate on these accounts, 4.5 to 5.0% APY. Fully FDIC insured. Tier 2. Short-term access, 3 to 5 days. This tier holds an additional 1 to 2 months of expenses, money you may need soon, but not necessarily today. If your monthly essentials are $2,500, Tier 2 holds $2,500 to $5,000. This tier can sit in a slightly less liquid high-yield savings account or a high-yield money market account that may take 2 to 3 business days to transfer. Some online banks offer marginally higher rates on accounts with slightly longer standard transfer windows. Current rates in this category, 4.8 to 5.2% APY. Fully FDIC insured. Tier 3. Medium-term access, 1 to 2 weeks. This tier holds 2 to 3 months of expenses. The larger reserves for more serious emergencies, like a job loss, a major medical event, or a significant home repair. If your monthly essentials are $2,500, Tier 3 holds $5,000 to $7,500. This tier can live in a high-yield savings account at a different institution from Tier 1 and 2, creating natural separation that reduces the psychological temptation to dip into reserves unnecessarily. Keeping Tier 3 at a separate bank from your day-to-day accounts creates a small but meaningful friction barrier. Current rates 4.8 to 5.2% APY. Fully FDIC insured. Tier 4. Extended access 1 to 4 weeks. This is the deepest tier of your emergency fund. The reserves that would only be needed in a true extended crisis, like a months-long job loss or a serious medical situation. It holds the remainder of your total emergency fund target beyond tiers 1 through 3. For this tier, some people use a no-penalty certificate of deposit. A no-penalty CD allows you to withdraw your full balance at any time after a short initial holding period, often just 7 days, while earning a rate typically slightly above standard HYSA rates. Current no-penalty CD rates at institutions like Ally and Marcus, approximately 4.5 to 5.0% APY, fully FDIC insured. The slightly longer access window is unlikely to matter for a genuine Tier 4 emergency, and the separation reinforces the discipline of treating this money as a true last resort. The total result of this 4-tier structure on a $20,000 emergency fund, compared to keeping the same $20,000 in a standard Chase savings account paying 0.01%, is a difference of approximately $960 in annual interest earned versus $2 in annual interest earned. That is a $958 annual improvement on money that is equally safe, equally accessible, and doing exactly the same job it was always supposed to do. Here is your action plan. 5 steps, starting this week. Step 1. Identify where your current emergency fund lives and what rate it is earning. Log into every account that holds any portion of your emergency savings. Write down the APY for each account. If any account is paying under 1%, it is in a trap. Step 2. Calculate your real return. Subtract current inflation, approximately 3%, from your current APY. If the result is negative, your emergency fund is losing real purchasing power every single day. Step 3. Calculate your 4-tiered target amounts. Take your monthly essential expenses, rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, minimum debt payments. Multiply by 1 for Tier 1, 1 to 2 for Tier 2, 2 to 3 for Tier 3, and the remainder up to your full 6-month target for Tier 4. Step 4. Open accounts for each tier. For Tiers 1 through 3, Ally Bank, Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Synchrony Bank, and American Express National Bank all offer high-yield savings accounts with no minimums, no fees, and full FDIC insurance at current rates between 4.5 and 5.2%. For Tier 4, compare no-penalty CD rates at the same institutions. All accounts can be opened online in under 10 minutes. Step 5. Transfer your existing emergency fund into the new tiered structure. Start by moving Tier 1, your most liquid immediate buffer, first. Then move Tiers 2 through 4 over the following week as you confirm the accounts are set up and linked correctly. You do not need to do this all at once. A staged migration over 1 to 2 weeks is completely appropriate. The full migration of a $20,000 emergency fund from a traditional bank to a 4-tier HYSA ladder takes approximately 1 to 2 hours of setup time total. After that, it requires essentially no ongoing maintenance, and it earns approximately $960 more per year on money that was already set aside, already safe, and already doing exactly the job you need it to do. Before we close, one final reminder. Everything in this video is for educational purposes only. HYSA rates change. No penalty CD terms vary by institution. FDIC insurance covers deposits up to $250,000 per depositor per institution, which means if you spread funds across multiple FDIC-insured institutions, each account is separately insured up to that limit. Always consult a qualified financial professional before restructuring how your savings are held. But here is what I want you to take from this. Building an emergency fund is one of the best financial decisions you can make. You already knew that. What most people do not know is that the standard advice stops one step too early. It tells you to save the money. It doesn't tell you to optimize where the money lives. And that gap between a 0.01% savings account and a properly structured 4-tier HYSA ladder represents hundreds to thousands of dollars per year on money you are already saving. You did the hard part. You built the emergency fund. Now let it work as hard as you did to build it. If this opened your eyes to something that was silently costing you money, hit subscribe. We release financial investigations exactly like this 3 times every single week. And I want to hear from you right now. Before watching this video, did you know that your emergency fund could be earning close to 5% while staying fully safe and accessible? Comment yes or no below. I read every single comment. I will see you in the next one.